Now back to the dire situation in Japan. As we've been reporting, Japanese officials said to be discussing a possible last resort to solve the nuclear crisis there, the so-called Chernobyl option. That's when officials dump massive amounts of sand and concrete on the reactors, essentially sealing the entire mess inside. That's what crews at Chernobyl did back in the 1980s to avoid an even bigger catastrophe. Physicist Michio Kaku joins us now with more on how that might work. He's also, by the way, the author of the new book, Physics of the Future, the Next 100 Years. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Kaku.
Glad to be on.
All right, so they've been using helicopters to try to spray water. What do you make of that?
It's like using a squirt gun against a forest fire. I mean, it's pathetic. One helicopter can't even get close because of the high radiation levels. And firemen with water cannons, they can't even reach the distance because it's too radioactive.
All right, what about using sand and concrete as they did at Chernobyl?
That's the final option. I think right now the Japanese government should put the Air Force on alert. That's what Gorbachev did in '86, put the Red Air Force on alert, armed them with helicopters, borated water, sand, concrete, and dumped 5,000 tons of concrete on the Chernobyl reactors, stopping the reaction.
Even at Chernobyl, the so-called sarcophagus, that's what they called it, it eventually cracked and leaked radiation into the atmosphere. I think it's still leaking, right?
It's still on. The core is still melting into the earth. But the main thing is to stop it, because if this thing has an uncontrolled release of radioactive fission products, we're going to lose a good chunk of northern Japan. Japan as a nation's integrity could actually be threatened. And that's why I think the main thing right now is to stop it. We can debate about secondary long-term effects later, but the main thing is to stop the bleeding.
And plutonium is actually created during the fission process. It's more dangerous than uranium.
That's right, and also realize that Unit 3 has MOX fuel containing plutonium. So we have this cocktail of very dangerous fission products, and at Chernobyl, about 25% of the core came out into people's backyard.
Yeah, plutonium has a 25,000-year half-life. I think uranium is, I looked it up, 700 million years half.
We're talking about the life of the solar system, 4 billion years for uranium U-238. A meltdown is forever. Parts of the Chernobyl area are a dead zone, even today.
Is it possible that the quake smashed the rods into each other, and that could cause it could cause a nuclear reaction?
It's possible because we don't even know the state of the generators, the state of the core. We can't even get close to it. There's no electricity there, no pumps, no cooling water. The rods are exposed, up to 70% core damage in Unit 1, and we simply don't know what's happening because it's too dangerous to get in there. And when they evacuate, the thing is going to be in free fall. Meltdown is inevitable once they have full evacuation.
Now, that sounds awful. And at the same time, we're getting reports that traces of radiation are surfacing in Southern California.
Well,
do we need to worry?
You and I have traces of the Chernobyl accident of '86 in our bodies. Radioactive iodine from Chernobyl hit New York City and elevated the milk. However, it's microscopic, so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
It's not going to do any harm.
Not going to do any harm, and hey, we all have Chernobyl inside our bodies.
Yeah. Do you envision that further plumes will come our way, but those will be equally minuscule?
There is a ray of hope. They're stringing electrical cables, and they want to turn the generators back on again. But the problem is that the generators could explode. They're damaged by the earthquake. We don't know what's going to happen. And again, the workers have to evacuate as soon as it gets too radioactive. And once they abandon ship, the ship goes down. That means full-scale breach of containment. That is the China syndrome.